Pastor Sanesti. My speech is about classical media and digital media in the service of the church. And I have a structure in 5 points. Although the ministry of the church in the world is not to seek out the improvement of mass media, the orthodoxy was, along the centuries, open to the concrete means of communication between people, which is adapted to its mission, making them bearers of spiritual content, aiming to bring people in communion with God and with one another in the perspective of eternal life. The manuscripts, which were written with monastic care over centuries, the worship books and biblical texts, the writings of the Holy Fathers, and the canon law collections printed and then translated into various languages are all part of the mankind's spiritual heritage. They are spiritual pillars of national culture for many people in Eastern Europe. Each new era in the evolution of communication means has yielded new mutations in the thinking and mentality of individuals and communities. Together with the entire array of social factors, these mutations have influenced the transmission and reception of religious values across generations. However, McLuhan's "the medium is the message" quote cannot be entirely applied to the religious message. Maintaining the link between lex credendi and lex orandi, the Church has kept the spirit of orthodoxy unchanged, even though society's communication means have changed. Although before the introduction of the printing press, the changes were slow and concerned mostly the physical material carrying the message as vehicle for its transmission, in the modern era, the technological progress is so rapid that changes are taking place within a certain generation. And I would like to speak about the Romanian experience in the media. I would like to say that in Romania we have a majority of 86.7% Orthodox faithful people, and we have also a diaspora over 2 million people. Classical media in the Romanian Orthodox pastoral ministry. The political and social changes which occurred in Eastern Europe countries after 1989 offered the Romanian Orthodox Church the chance to regain the former strength and glamour and to intensify its public presence through its spiritual, cultural, and social philanthropic work, through the religious education system in public schools, and through mass media. The need to catechize adults as an answer to the general thirst for religious culture has contributed to the rapid development of editorial and publishing activities in this field. Theological and spirituality books, reedited patristic writings, official bulletins issued by dioceses, newspapers and magazines published by clerics or by lay associations, from the short-lived religious tabloid in the collection publication, all these are now part of the spiritual ministry through the printed word. A prominent position is occupied by the Christian Opinion newspaper founded in 2005, Ziarul Lumina, The Light, which is now the daily newspaper of the Romanian Patriarchate and has a weekly supplement, The Sunday Light. If the field of printed publication developed rapidly on firm ground, as Romania had religious newspapers which were printed continuously for almost centuries, the audiovisual field developed from ground up in several steps. Trinitas Radio, the first Orthodox Christian radio station in Romania, started broadcasting in April 1998, and it currently is a national network of 51 FM frequencies, and since 2002 also broadcast on the internet. Trinitas TV was founded in 2007 and broadcast 24-hour 7 days via satellite as well as through cable operators and on the internet. In Romania, there was much talk about the use of audiovisual means in the ministry of the church. It is adequate for preaching the Holy Gospel? Is it an opportunity? Will it be perhaps a threat? Mass media were considered the expression of a consumer society, of secular thinking and of disordered freedom. Threats upon spiritual identity coming from a secularized society, from heterodox and syncretic currents, were weighed in relation with the advantages brought by the live transmission of Orthodox services, the promotion of the teachings of faith, and of church news through radio and television. Eventually, the optimistic vision has prevailed over fear. In the motivation written by His Beatitude Patriarch Daniel upon the request of the audiovisual license for the Trinitas TV station, the following arguments are stated. First argument, the Orthodox Holy Liturgy has a powerful, iconic, and visual message, and the audio-video transmission brings those who cannot directly attend the service, those in hospitals, prisons, remote or isolated areas, closer to the liturgical reality. Second argument, the Orthodox cultural spiritual heritage can be better presented to the public through television, thus impacting millions of faithful in a considerable way. Third, in a society dominated by image and new information, the dynamics of church life and of the relationships between church and society become more familiar to the public through the audiovisual language. The church has the opportunity to get involved in education and civic development. From a lifelong learning perspective, it also has the possibility to cover solemn moments in the life of religious communities and in civil life. Opportunities are created for cooperation with other television stations and to develop projects and partnerships with civil authorities in the interest of public good and social peace. Since 2007, within the Romanian Patriarchate, the Basilica Press Center was created with 5 components. Trinitas Radio, Trinitas TV, the Light Publications, the Basilica News Agency, and the Press and Public Relations Office. All the dioceses in Romania and abroad are present in the Basilica Press Center's broadcast, even those which have their own media institutions, as an expression of the unity of the Romanian Orthodox Church. The usage of mass communication means radio, television, newspaper, was seen by the leadership of the Church as an extension of the ministry space and an opportunity to multiply its message to an ever-growing group of receivers. Through mass media, the sermon reaches simultaneously those who are gathered in the church for worship, as well as those who, due to objective reasons, cannot attend. The broadcasts can also be viewed as reruns, and thus the sermons of bishops or spiritual fathers are reaching the faithful through radio, TV, or recorded on media such as CD, DVD, or flash memory. The publicizing of church events is making communities aware of one another and creates models. Documentaries about holy places are inviting the faithful to pilgrimage and to intensify their prayer. The Orthodox faith established, thus through mass media, new ways of communication and fraternization between people. In a diversified and liberalized media landscape, which sees the confrontation of most different opinions and attitudes, the church media institutions have to make the voice of the church heard in the public space, the promotion of the righteous faith, and the correct transmission of authoritative spiritual messages. The public receives directly from the source the correct, unalterated information, and the church leadership trusts their own media institution to work in harmony with the entire ecclesial body. Transition from the media space to the digital universe. The digitalization of communication, the rapid development of the internet and of social networks has brought changes in all social areas. Only a reductionist thinking would conceive the information society only under its technical, economical aspects, assimilated with the development of digital transmission technologies. The universal global character of the information society has consequences upon all areas of social life. People are displaying new communicational behaviors. They change the way they think, they learn, they cooperate, they eat, they laugh, they are relaxing. Even the hierarchy of values is different from one person to another due to the media pressure accepted. School is no longer the only conscience shaping factor, and the family is struggling to maintain its identity in real space. Cyberspace, the virtual world, looks like a new planet discovered by daring adventures and appreciated for its qualities: universality, interactivity, democratization of power and communication. It is a new world with a transactional culture, a new way of offering and receiving. Skeptics have, however, pointed out the dangers, the virtualization of human relationships, escapism to the cyberspace, informational superabundancy, intuitive culture, network vulnerabilities caused by lack of anonymously accepted rules. The virtual worlds look like an immense supermarket in which many products are free, but labels are often deceiving. The virtual world is neither better nor worse than our real world. It is rather its extension. Virtue and sin, wet and tears are mixed, and the problems and concerns here appear there also: freedom and domination, inclusion and exclusion, digital games, education and health, work relationships, commerce, environment, pollution, management of international conflicts and natural cataclysms, etc. Unfortunately, the virtual world is not an ideal model. Much like the rupestral shadows in Plato's Republic, the virtual world was born as a projection.
Έχετε 2 λεπτά ακόμη, πατέρα. 2 λεπτά.
Classical media and digital media in the traditional network of the church. The computer ensures the convergence of older media, text, sound, and image are all found together in the web of myriads of bits. In a multilingual and multicultural context, the word diminishes its role as a sole communication vehicle. Through its traditional structure, any local church is organized as a spiritual network, taking into account the natural environment, the geographical and administrative context. The church's spiritual network is connected through the paternity, brotherhood, and filiation connection in the spirit of the righteous faith. Each base community, parish, or monastery has a spiritual father around whom the spiritual sons and daughters are gathering together for the Holy Liturgy. The media institutions are the first who extended their activity in the virtual environment. They are actually the way through which the church is diligently present, both the public space dominated by audiovisual and in the digital space. They are maintaining the conscience of the spiritual guiding authority and of the serving power of the shepherd over the flock. The ubiquity, simultaneity, and proximity found in social networks are closing the vertical gap between the shepherds and the shepherded. The temptation of total freedom in the virtual space has led to the situation in which, next to the portals, blogs, and websites made with the blessing of the church authority, private initiatives have also sprung, which are spreading viewpoints and opinions which are not always in accordance with the official attitude and the holy tradition. The church's synodic authority has stated that the holy canons and Christian principles concerning communicational behavior are also valid in cyberspace, and any work needs blessing here and there as well. Instead of conclusions, the presence of the church in cyberspace does not mean a mimetic synchronization with a modernizing process. Digital media opens an interactive field in which the distance between professional journalists and the dwellers of social network is closed. It is the duty of spiritual shepherds to be always close to their spiritual flock in order to counsel them appropriately and call upon people to taste the fruits of a life lived in the righteous faith. In a document of the Romanian Patriarchate dated November 2011, the following passage can be read. The Church recommends balance, discernment, and lucidity in the use of the new information and communication technologies in order to distinguish between good and evil and to nurture what is helpful and saving. Through digital media, classical media are becoming a mediator and articulation between the real and virtual worlds.
Nicolae, μια τελευταία κουβέντα.
I finished. Between the living community and the telepresence online. The Church proclaims both in the real and virtual worlds the greatness of the Creator over creation. It affirms the priority of the spiritual over the virtual, of content over shape, and raises awareness that excess of technology can lead to a deficit of humanity. In the spirit of our Orthodox tradition, authentic communication is prophetic, ascetic, agapic, Eucharistic, and eschatological. That is why, as the parts of Christ's mystical body, clerics and laymen, connected or unconnected to the internet, have before us always the call of St. John Chrysostom to become the good dough, the salt of the earth, and the light of the world. Thank you.